name's Tim Meyer, and I'm a professor of international law at Duke Law School in North Carolina, and I'm a member of the AJIL board. I'm here today to talk a little bit about my path into international law scholarship, and in particular to the AJIL board and my involvement with AJIL. So my path to being a scholar in international law really started when I was hired to be a research assistant for a professor of mine who was writing a book on compliance with international law. Prior to that, I was really thinking I was going to work more on federalism issues, particularly in regards to U.S. States. And it was a natural leap to start thinking about how states at the international level would cooperate and contest issues that might arise in their relationships. I found being a research assistant for a professor writing a book to be one of the most educational experiences, and just a wonderful introduction to international law and international legal scholarship. After that, I clerked for a federal judge, and then I ended up at the State Department as a lawyer working on a wide range of both treaty issues as well as more commercial and arbitration issues at the Office of the Legal Advisor there. And while I was in Washington at the State Department that I first encountered AJIL. So the Legal Advisor's Office would encourage attorneys, particularly young attorneys, to go to the AJIL annual meeting. And so I would troop up to the hotel in the spring when the conference would happen. And it was there that I first met members of the board and sort of started to understand kind of what AJIL was and how it operated. And when I took my first teaching job in 2010, I wrote my first article and I submitted it to AJIL, and unfortunately, it was not accepted there. But the review process was rigorous and it was thorough, and the piece ultimately ended up being better for having gotten the reviews, even if it didn't appear in AJIL. And so sometimes, we get asked, how do I publish an AJIL? How do I think about getting sort of more involved with AJIL and its process, and is it worth it? And I think the answer to that question is yes, it's worth it. And the way to I think get involved is just to do two things. The first is to recognize that it may take a number of times submitting to AJIL to ultimately have a piece selected. The journal receives a large number of submissions. It has to be selective. But even if your piece isn't accepted, as was my experience, that review process is itself a really, really valuable process in terms of improving your work, no matter where it gets published. And the members of the board take very seriously that responsibility to review and give thoughtful feedback. And so I'd encourage everyone to submit to the journal. If you're used to submitting to the U.S. student-edited journals, there can be a little bit of sort of needing to think strategically about the timing of that relationships. The peer review process is a little slower than the student-edited process sometimes. But that forethought and that advanced planning is well worth it for both the opportunity to publish an AJIL in any event. Again, the opportunity to get members of the board to give you really sustained feedback. So thanks very much.